Over the last couple of years, I have been spending most of my time in New Zealand because I got the chance to work on a major motion picture that's huge, that you guys will have all heard of, that I can't say the name unfortunately, but you can look it up on IMDb and you'll find out what I'm talking about. But what was cool about being down in New Zealand is that I got a chance to work with a lot of people that naturally have the ability to repurpose, and they do it all the time. Some folks do it for fun, but a lot of people do it because they need something to work. They may need like an outdoor shower, or they have a cool idea for a bathtub or an old car or whatever. And it was neat because for the last couple of years I've worked with a lot of folks that dig that kind of stuff, and got to thinking about it, and it was like, well, why not take that same idea and instead of making something practical, make something pretty. Ever since I was a kid, I was fascinated by robots and tinkering with stuff. I kind of picked that up from my grandpa, and this was the place that he liked to tinker. What used to be the Cedar Creek store in Libby, Montana. This shop has a lot of history. It was built in the 30s, possibly the early 40s, and used to be basically one hell of a place to party. It was built as a bar restaurant originally, and a lot of the great country musicians back in the day came here and performed. And then my grandfather and grandmother bought it in the early 70s and turned it into a wood shop. Now, Grandma's letting me use it to kind of create whatever I want to. And what I want to create is robots. Every cowboy needs a good steed. And this is mine, Sherman, a 1971 Ford F-250, 390 horsepower. This is how we like to go shopping. One of my favorite parts of doing this kind of art is the adventure aspect of actually finding the pieces. Today we've driven a little over 100 miles to beautiful Coeur d'Alene, Idaho to see what we can find. This place looks cool, let's go check it out. So first stop is Wiggins in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Free coffee and lots of really cool stuff. See, you never know what you'll find. This is a turn-of-the-century battery box. How cool is that? So you've always got to be on the lookout, because you never know where you're going to find a cool place to find cool stuff. Like in a strip mall on the side of the road next to an RV park. Who knew? The stuff I like to build my robots out of, I don't find at Macy's or like really high-end stores. We like to shop in places like this, the other mall. This is quintessential shopping. Look how busy it is at 6:30 on a Wednesday night. Awesome. So like I say, you can never judge a book by its cover, because even in the other mall, you find really cool stuff like that. Like I said, hidden joys, hidden treasures. from memory lane with our friend Lynn. Thanks, Lynn. One of the most interesting parts of this kind of art form that I really enjoy is it does have a very green aspect to it, because what we're doing is we're finding old stuff, anything that you can think of that looks interesting and cool and whatever, to use in a new way. So it's repurposing, but it's art, but at the same time it's something new and cool and different. So once again, we're at another emporium, another art kind of place to look into, and we'll see what we can find. It's all old Star Wars toys. See, this is what you have to be careful of when you're actually shopping for your business purposes, because you end up going to things that you like, but you have to be careful because you're going to spend all of your hard-earned money on something outside of what you're trying to do. It's still pretty cool though. It's pretty cool. Repurposing isn't a new art form. It's become popular within the last decade or so. But if you really think about it, people like Rat Fink have been doing the art of repurposing for a while. Taking the idea of an old sports car, changing it around, and adding a monster. That's repurposing. So I wanted to say thanks to the ladies from Spencer's. If you're in downtown Spokane, come and check them out. They got lots of cool stuff.
We'll be here 7 days a week.
Thanks.
We'll be quizzing you.
The nice thing about places like Spencer's Emporium is that they represent 107, 108 dealers all in one location. So if you're in a position where you're starting to make your own art and you don't have a storefront or you don't have your own space, you can rent a cubicle in a place for not a lot of money per month, but it's also get a high traffic area because it's representing so many other places, so many other artists and people and antique dealers, pretty much anything that you're looking for. So these kind of things are actually a pretty good idea for someone who's starting out. Guys on American Pickers Big Proud. 300 plus miles today. A handful of antique stores and odd tchotchke shops. Came out with a few good things. Not as much as I would like, but a fair amount of stuff. And now, time to go back to Montana, take a nice rest, and then in the morning, actually start building some robots. So after a day of treasure hunting, these are some of the cool items that we found. Now it's time to get creative and turn them into some robots. A little advice. The most important thing to remember when you're designing, start with a cup of coffee. Clean table, clean slate, time to get creative. So introducing Tommy. He's a young, playful kid with his little red ball and his lolly, as they would say in New Zealand. I got this mid-50s electric fence box, and it just kind of said, little kid.
Danger.